Okay, it's been 24 hours. The epoxy has cured as much as it ever will. And it's time to see what we got here. And glide try it off. Voila. No muss, no fuss. There's no surplus on the shoulder of either the stem or the shank, which leaves us only 2 steps to go. One is to take a tapered drill bit and clear out whatever gunk might be in the airway, a little bleed over from yeah, here we go, see? We got some particulate matter, little chips of epoxy. The airway did get some overflow in it, but that was anticipated. And as long as you're gentle and don't go crazy here, you just remove that like a plumber. See? All this white stuff, that's just epoxy, cured epoxy. And now you don't want to push too hard and crack the blade, of course you don't. But I think it's probably it. Yep. Blow through it to make sure. And you're good to go. Which leaves only one final step. And that is to make a little radius, a fillet as it's known in some circles, the base of the tenon, where it meets the face of the stem. It's an absolute sharp right angle right now, which doesn't look normal. A factory-made pipe doesn't have that. So Dunhill has little 45-degree angles. Most brands have a little radius. So we're going to approximate that and get rid of that right angle, which is ugly looking to somebody who looks at a lot of old pipes. We just mix up a little bit more G-Flex, about a half a teaspoon, and add to it 1 drop of System 3's own stuff. It's a tint or a pigment designed for the purpose. This stuff is so black it is nightmare fuel. I have no idea what it consists of and why they didn't put it in a squeeze bottle instead of a jar. I don't know. But it's like really thick ink or something. And 1 drop of that in about a half a teaspoon of epoxy, and it'll turn the entire thing midnight black. And then you just take a stick and push it in around the edge and then wipe it off with your finger. So I'm going to mix up some epoxy and be back and show you the grand finale here of actually putting it on, and then this project will be finished. Okay, the epoxy is mixed. Tasty. And on the side we've got a little bit of plain old white kitchen vinegar. I think I mentioned this earlier, but it's worth mentioning again. It cleans up epoxy as long as it's not completely cured, and you can get a gallon of it for a lifetime supply for like $2 or something. So, final step. Here's the stem, and here you just put on more than you're gonna need because you'll have the ability to clean it up with no drama. We're just gonna start poking it in. Now there's a tiny, like a couple 3/1000ths of an inch around the base of this. There's a little hairline. It's not a crack, but a gap between the tenon and the hole that we drilled. Sometimes there's more or less of that, but it really doesn't matter because we're going to be putting a radius around in there anyway. The main thing here is you just want to put enough on so that when you wipe it off, you leave a smooth surface with no bubbles or anything in it. Needless to say, have some paper towels or toilet paper or something standing by, because if you were to wipe your fingers or something on, or rather wipe this onto like your pants or something like that, it would not come out. Also, it should be obvious that this particular tenon replacement procedure is not something that you gear up and or do as they roll in the door. You basically save up a few of these so you can do them all at one time, make a day of just doing tenon repairs, and it seemed then you'd only have to mix the epoxy once and all that kind of stuff. So, but that's pretty obvious, I think. Okay, I'm wearing gloves. You can do this with your fingers, but it just gets pretty messy, so I don't bother. And then you just roll and lift. And it just slides right off of there. Remember, the stuff, the tenon is pretty slippery stuff anyway. And the face of the stem has been shined up a bit, so the gloss, the shine of the epoxy when it dries or cures, it technically never dries, it just cures. You can't really tell that this has been added. It's a very convincing, if you got out a magnifying glass and knew exactly what you were looking for, you would probably be able to detect that the repair had been done, but you'd almost have to be a repairman to see that. It's just kind of the nature of it. We're almost there. Okay. I'm thinking that looks pretty good. Yep. Oh, crap. Okay, now this will take another 24 hours to cure. You don't want to put this back in the pipe until it's completely cured, but for obvious reasons. But that is now it. She is cooked. I'll take some close-up pictures of this and tack them still photos onto the end of this video series. For just because that's how I did the last one, might as well do it again. So other than that, there's nothing left to watch. If you want to see close-ups of the work, click to the next segment. Otherwise, we are done, and thanks for watching and all that other corny crap. And I'll be making more of these as time permits and my inclination suggests. So, take care.